Hi everybody, how's everybody doing today? I wanted to go over the difference between RAND and RAND between in Google Sheets. Now, oops, hold on a second, sorry about that. RAND, these are just random number generators. However, RAND is a little bit more constrictive. You can only do, RAND will only go between 0 and 1, so which means it goes in the decimal places. For example, let's go RAND. So as you can see, it'll come up with 0.77, and if you do another, if you activate the sheet in any way, it'll actually change the number. So let's go with 0.66, and that's what that is. So everything you get will be between 0 and 1 inclusive. RAND between is a little bit more expansive. You can choose your own range, so you get to say how many steps it goes through. For example, let's try RAND between 1, oops, don't need to space there, 1 and 20. So the syntax is that it goes from the low to the high, as you can see right there. So 17, activate it again. Hold on a second. This one will give, ooh, apparently it is not working. Ah, there it is. Yeah, apparently I had to do a little bit of something to kind of activate it a little bit. But as I said, it goes straight through whatever numbers you give it. So what we have here on the left is the top 10 songs from, I believe, 1985. Now, points to you if you can tell which artist appears on here twice. And believe me, it's more than one. So what I want to show you is how to get like a little bit of a mini random generator. Now, one of the reasons why you would really be interested in using RAND between or even RAND is that those functions are really good for simulations. If you're trying to simulate revenue, you would definitely be interested in using RAND between if you're running some kind of marketing experiment. Another way that I have used RAND is to basically pick from contest. As I'm a writer, there are certain people who want swag and what have you, and we come up with a quick random generator to put their names in a list, come up with a quick random generator to pick the number with the corresponding name, and that's how it works. So that's basically what I'm going to be showing you here. It's a very simple way of doing things, and it does include RAND between and another function that I love called VLOOKUP. I do have another video on how I used VLOOKUP match, and I'll link that in the description, but it is a very useful function. So let's go ahead. The first thing to do is to actually start with the VLOOKUP, because the VLOOKUP I think contains 4 or 5 arguments, and one of them is going to be the random. Okay, VLOOKUP. So the search key in this case is going to be the number that the number range that I'm working with. In this case, since I chose the top 10, I'm going to go RAND between 1 through 10, inclusive. Now, in this case, I'm looking at the table. Let me close this up a little bit. The table I'm looking for is from A1 to B10, so we're going to put A1 to B10. All right, so the next piece of information is what is the information that I want to retrieve. In this case, I want to retrieve the name of the song that's in column B. So I'm going to put in here 2 because, and you'll see it's already coming up with it, because it is 2 steps from, this is step 1, column A is step 1, and column B is step 2. VLOOKUP is a vertical lookup, so it does look at the columns and not the rows. That's HLOOKUP. So from step 2, so we're going to go ahead and get that. And then for this one we put false. I think this is basically for sorting. right? So then we're going to go ahead and it's going to choose random between, and it's going to come up with like a virgin. So that's in the second row, second column. Now when we go ahead and let me see if I can actually activate it again. Aha, careless whisper, so it goes back to number 1. Money for nothing. I believe that was men at work. So that's how that works. It does take a little bit. I realized with RAND between, it does take a little bit to kind of activate it, but it can be a very useful tool if you're doing something very simple. Now, if you are dealing with an array that's going to wind up have more rows, but the columns are going to be the same, then what you want to do is where it says where you've actually locked in the columns here. And hold on a second, I should put this as a absolute just in case. You put that absolute by pressing F4. So as I was saying, if you're going to be dealing with adding more rows, then what you want to do is you want to just basically take out the number from the column, and then you can see right here it just tabulates all of these rows. So you can go ahead and you can add all the different any other different information, different rows, and it will pick it up and go from there. Now, one thing I do like to do is I do like a bit of error checking, because of course, as you can see, now that I've changed it to A, to A1 to B, and B, the rest of B after 10 has nothing in it, I want to be able to say, okay, it's not that there's something wrong with the function, but that there's nothing in that cell. So I like to use a bit of error checking. In this case, you use if NA. So if NA says if it's not available. NA means not available. So we go if NA. Hold on a second. If NA is not available, then what do we do? So the error message for this one, it just says, okay, what are we going to say if NA takes 2 arguments? It takes the yes, if everything is okay, then this happens. Then if it's not okay, then what happens? So if it's not okay, then we're going to say cell is blank. Okay? And because we're dealing with text, we put it in quotation marks. That's how we know. If it comes out in green, you're good. And then we close up the if in a argument. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if anything else comes up. Crazy for you. So it should come up because I have restricted it. But if we go all the way like to, let's keep it simple and go to 12. See, it says cell is blank because it went to either numbers 11 or 12 and there's nothing in there. So that's just a quick journey through RAND and RAND between. As I mentioned, RAND is for the random decimals between 0 and 1, while RAND between allows you to use whole numbers that you can use from 0 to 100 to 1000, whatever it is that you need. And if you need to basically increase the number of rows, you just edit the number. You edit the numbers here with the actual absolute table, and you also edit this part right here to go down to as many rows as you need. There is a more advanced way to do that, but I'll go into that in a subsequent video if you want. And then we actually encase everything in an if NA error checking, so that if we wind up having a blank cell, we just know that the cell is blank and not that there's anything wrong with the formula. All right. Have a good day. Hope this was useful. Please, if you find this content useful, like, share, subscribe, comment. I know if you have any other questions with RAND and RAND between, let me know, and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Thanks again, and have a good one.